Story 1. Stretching every morning when waking up. My grandpa taught me. He is 94 now and still does everything as if he is 50. He is even able to run. Of course, it is also genetics, but a life filled with stretches every morning definitely does not make your body worse, even if it is just for a couple of minutes every morning. Story 2. If you feel lightheaded as you stand up, orthostatic hypotension, you can squeeze any muscle as hard as you can, and it will quickly raise your pulse and blood pressure so you do not black out and fall. Story 3. If you have lower back pain or sciatica, try gluteus medius burnouts. Use a chair or table to steady yourself and raise one leg straight out to the side as high as you can, holding it until it feels like your hip is on fire and trying to cramp. Repeat on the other side. Sounds crazy, but it can eliminate lower back pain instantly. Story 4. If you are prone to anxiety attacks, keep some really sour candies on hand. I normally take medication for anxiety attack onsets, but sometimes I forget to pack it. It works. Story 5. If you think it would be at all challenging, for example, anyone over age 50, get fully on the floor and back up again every single day. You really do not want to fall and then realize that you cannot get yourself back up and to your phone for help. Practicing so that it is not terribly difficult ensures that you will still be able to do it even if you have a mild injury from the fall. Story 6. Vagus nerve trick for calming yourself down. If you are feeling super anxious or stressed, try splashing your face with cold water or holding an ice pack on your forehead and under your eyes for a few seconds. It activates your vagus nerve, which helps slow your heart rate and calm you down almost instantly. Thank me later. Story 7. If you have a stuffy nose due to a cold or allergy, try doing push-ups, jumping jacks, or any form of intense sudden activity. It's near instant relief. I always get the exact mechanism wrong, but since stuffy noses happen due to swelling in the tissue of the nose, sudden activity promotes blood flow and drainage of mucus. It's temporary, of course, but worth a try. Story 8. To quickly relieve a cramping calf, which usually happens while sleeping, stand on your feet. It feels counterintuitive, but standing up forces your leg muscles to stretch and stop the cramping. Story 9. So, I recently read that if you can't sleep, just start imagining a dream in your head, and out you go. Some nights I have trouble sleeping, so I decided to give this a try, thinking it was complete nonsense. But it works. That idea is like Cthulhu rose from the sea, so I grabbed my lingerie-clad wife and kissed her deeply. I'll be back in no time, babe. I grab my helmet and head toward my modified fighter jet. I nod toward my wingman, call sign Beastman, who is a velociraptor, and we both climb into our planes and... Story 10. Crying is a healthy and good thing to do when you're sad. However, there are times when it's really inconvenient to cry. In those situations, controlling your breath will control your tears. Take slow, deep breaths until you feel better if you're in public. If you're in private, singing works too. Anything to alter your breathing will nip those tears right in the ducts. Just be sure to let it out and have a good cry later when you've got the time and space to do it. Story 11. I am a woman, and my cocaine-addicted friend told me that a side effect was not being able to urinate on command. She said just tickle the top of your lower back, and the flow will start. Totally works. Stage fright in a public restroom? My God, it works. Not sure if it works for the men. Story 12. If you are bloated and alone, bend over and touch your toes for an extended period of time. Additionally, get into child's pose and rock back and forth. You can also lie against a wall or couch with your feet up in the air. Rotate between those 3 positions if you are by yourself, and you should be significantly less bloated. Story 13. It took me an embarrassingly long time to realize if you have water stuck in your ear. Just tilt your head and open and close your jaw a couple of times. It should clear it out in a couple of seconds. Story 14. All these helpful ones, and mine is just dumb. Whichever is your dominant side, sit and make clockwise circles with your ankle. Now draw the number 6 in the air with your same side hand. Your ankle will automatically reverse directions. Brain stuff. Story 15. Starting strength. Everybody with no history of lifting should do some kind of bench, deadlift, and squat routine, adding progressively more weight over time. Beginners will quickly add a huge amount of strength and muscle. Eventually, progress slows and people can decide how or if to continue. But there is no reason not to take advantage of beginner gains. Story 16. Squishmallows, especially one giant squishmallow, is perfect to prop your body up after surgery or an accident. I broke my pelvis and was wheelchair-bound for 3 months. That squishmallow saved my life. Story 17. Okay, this sounds wild, but if you ever have a headache, try pinching the web between your thumb and index finger for a minute or two. This seriously helps relieve pain. Story 18. If you have an inflamed tendon, the best pain relief for that is simple ibuprofen. Make sure it's ibuprofen, not Tylenol. A doctor told me a few years ago that ibuprofen is best for inflamed tendons, and I don't know if he placebo affected me or not, but I certainly noticed much greater relief in swelling and pain using ibuprofen compared to any other over-the-counter pain reliever. Story 19. Seeking to actually strengthen your muscles as opposed to just getting surgery on them when something is wrong will save you a great deal of money in surgeries. Stay active. Story 20. Not really a hack, but be conscious of making sure that when you chew, you do it equally on both sides. I was having some serious jaw pain because I only chewed on the right side of my mouth, so the left side was weak. Story 21. If you can't fall asleep, get up and out of bed, and then get back into bed, basically redoing the bedtime process. Tricks your mind. If that fails, relax and fall right to sleep. Story 22. Drastically reduce or eliminate alcohol intake. Your body and mind will thank you. Balanced hormones, stronger immune system, better sleep, weight loss, and clearer skin. Prior to this year, I would drink on average 3 to 4 nights per week, with 1 to 3 drinks each of those nights. There weren't any issues with dependence or abuse, but I grew to hate my relationship with alcohol. I'm happy to report that my physical and mental health have greatly improved in just a few months since I cut back to 1 to 2 drinks per month. If that. Story 23. Train throwing patterns equally on both sides of the body. I started training with mace and heavy clubs in my early 40s. I was building the typical middle-aged male's body, with all the aches and pains associated with neglect. I came across Mark Wildman on YouTube, immediately ordered 2 clubs and a mace from Amazon, and haven't looked back. I followed along on YouTube and just kept at it for the past 5 years. No more back, shoulder, or hip pain. Story 24. If you cannot get a full night's sleep for any reason, aim for 3, 4.5, or 6 hours, even if that means you get less sleep. Sleep is not one big rapid eye movement cycle. You go through a complete cycle every 90 minutes. In general, if you feel terrible when you wake up, and it is not due to being ill or a hangover or similar, it is because you forced yourself awake during the deeper parts of sleep. Aiming to wake up at the end of a rapid eye movement cycle will leave you feeling more rested than if you had less sleep. This also applies to naps, by the way. It is better to either wake yourself up before or after the deeper rapid eye movement sleep, which means naps should be either 20 minutes or 90 minutes, not anywhere in between. Ask anyone who says they feel terrible after naps how long they nap for. Most of the time, they will say about an hour. Despite that being our standard unit of time, it is basically the worst length of nap imaginable. Story 25. If you're sick and drinking lots of water, be sure to add a tiny bit of salt. Otherwise, you flush your electrolytes and get even sicker. I learned this from the emergency room staff when I had to be treated with intravenous fluids during a lengthy sickness. Story 26. One effective body hack for managing stress is the 5-5-5 method. When you feel overwhelmed, take a moment to ground yourself by identifying 5 things you can see, 5 things you can feel, and 5 sounds you can hear. This quick exercise helps redirect your focus to the present moment, making it easier to calm your mind and reduce anxiety. It's simple and can be done anywhere. Story 27. Pinch your index finger and middle finger to your thumb. Where they meet, you have made a pinhole lens that you can hold up to your eye to see better. Works really well to read a light-emitting diode clock at night. Story 28. Scientists studying hiccups theorized that they are a leftover mechanism from when humans were fish and had gills. Simply remind yourself that you are not a fish, and they will go away. Regardless of whether the reason is true or not, your brain will stop them. Try it next time. Say, I am not a fish. I don't need to use this anymore. To yourself and they will go away. Story 29. Eating a small snack that includes complex carbohydrates before bed, like a banana or oatmeal, can help improve sleep quality. Carbohydrates help your brain produce serotonin and melatonin, which regulate sleep. I think that is the best crazy body life hack because we need to sleep well. Story 30. I learned a kind of weird one on Reddit a few years ago that I use almost every day now. It kind of stretches your back and straightens your posture. I do this in the shower, but it can be done anywhere. Put your back against the wall. Make sure your heels, calves, buttocks, shoulder blades, and the back of your head are touching the wall. Now, with your palms, try pushing your body away from the wall, but at the same time, try keeping all the things listed above against the wall so you're kind of fighting yourself. Do this a few times in 10-second increments. Story 31. If you feel a sneeze coming on but can't get it out, look towards a bright light source like a light bulb or the sun, and it will cause you to sneeze. It's called the autosomal compelling helio-ophthalmic outburst syndrome. Story 32. To suppress the gag reflex, put your finger between your eyes, where the top of your nose connects to your face. Press hard for about 15 seconds. This helps children when swallowing large pills. It is also useful for adults. Story 33. If you are a woman at any age after 30, regardless of having babies, but especially if you have, even if you have never had a major fall, but especially if you have, please just do a routine pelvic floor therapy check-in. I was in pain for years. My sacroiliac joint, no matter what I did, I could not get the pain out. Well, it turns out if I try from inside versus outside, I am relieving it since it is actually semi-stuck. Massaging and relearning not to push to urinate, adding a small pillow at my waist, I have larger hips compared to my waist. All these things together after years of therapy took the pain away. 10 sessions of pelvic floor therapy versus 3 to 4 years of other physical therapy. Go to a pelvic floor therapist. You can have hip pain, back pain, sexual discomfort, and it can be helped with pelvic floor therapy. Story 34. Get into a routine of stretching your hip flexors and chest if you sit for long periods. An absolute game changer for people who suffer from chronic lower back pain as a result of being hunched over a desk. Story 35. If you need to get up in the middle of the night, keep one eye closed so that when you turn on the lights, it stays attuned to night vision. That way, you can still see in the dark with the other eye when you're done using the bathroom. Story 36. Every man should have a hair dryer ready for after showers. Drying the whole nether region, front, under, and back, with a hair dryer before putting on underwear is a game changer. Story 37. One of my favorites is drinking a big glass of water right when you wake up. It helps wake your body up, gets your metabolism going, and helps you feel more energized throughout the day. Story 38. Put your knees and elbows on the ground and slowly walk your hands forward with your butt in the air and head down in the downward dog position. Almost always relieves irritable bowel syndrome pressure. Story 39. If you stand up too fast and get dizzy, just place your palms flat against a table, bed, or whatever is flat and perpendicular to the surface you're standing on. It seriously gets rid of the dizziness in a second. Story 40. Using your fingers to help with indigestion. If you press on the area between your pinky and ring finger for a minute, it can help ease bloating and discomfort. This spot is known as the small intestine point, and it's a simple way to find relief after a heavy meal because you can do it anywhere. Story 41. Simple strength training can help in unexpected ways. For me, I had chronic iliotibial band syndrome beginning in college, which made hiking downhill troublesome despite otherwise good fitness and hiking pace. But once I started cycling seriously and built up my quadriceps, this problem went away almost entirely. Now I'm in my 40s and can take on trails I couldn't handle in my 20s. Story 42. For men, after urination, if you press on the perineum and push forward towards the shaft, you'll push out the last bits without needing to shake it like you're playing with it. This is very effective at preventing those last few drips that always seem to sneak out right as you zip your pants. Story 43. Cut out the middleman, which is self-talk, and just take action because you know what to do. You know what needs to be done. We just deceive ourselves, so cut out the middleman. Story 44. Not insane, but if you want to go to the bathroom at night, when you turn on the light, squeeze one eye shut until you're finished. Then, when the light is off again, you can open that eye and it will be adjusted to the dark, so you can easily get back to bed with night vision. Story 45. Drink a glass of ice water first thing in the morning. Kickstarts your metabolism as your body works to warm it up. Super simple, but surprisingly effective. Story 46. The first time you try to jog, you can walk 80% of the distance. It is literally fine. Try to slowly lower the ratio of walking to running over the course of months, not days. You will be amazed at what you can do. Story 47. It sounds so obviously simple, but cutting out or at least significantly reducing caffeine will make you feel less anxious, tense, and experience less acid reflux and chest pain, leading to better sleep. Story 48. If you are exhausted or feeling low that day, a 20 to 30-minute power nap will recharge your energy for your afternoon. In Spanish culture, this is called siesta or lunch nap, though it is common in Asia and the Middle East. Story 49. If you have to urinate or defecate really badly and you can't because there's not a bathroom, subtly use manual stimulation to turn yourself on. Your body withholds signals from the digestive system during intercourse so you don't urinate instead of ejaculate. That's why it's hard to urinate with an erection or after an orgasm. I pinch my nipples and the urge reduces and goes away for a bit, but the relief is stronger the arousal.